On Thanksgiving, my sister shoved my 12-year-old daughter into a puddle and said, "Now you're just like your mother, you dirty pig." The whole family laughed, but my husband's revenge silenced them all and left them begging for mercy. Hey Reddit. Thanksgiving has always been complicated for my family, but last year turned it into something else entirely. My name is Georgina Rodriguez, and I never thought I'd dread holidays the way I do now. I used to be the type who'd spend weeks planning the menu, decorating with little pumpkins and cinnamon-scented candles, and coordinating outfits for those perfectly curated family photos. But this time, Thanksgiving ended with my daughter in tears, my sister unmasked, and my husband doing something no one expected but everyone deserved. To set the scene, my family is judgmental. That's putting it mildly. They thrive on hierarchy, perfection, and appearances. My older sister Vanessa has always been the golden one. Law degree, expensive car, social media, perfect marriage, the works. I, on the other hand, took a more modest path. I teach middle school English. Married a mechanic named James who's got grease under his nails, but the kindest heart I've ever known. And we have one daughter, Lily, who's 12. Sensitive, sweet, and unfortunately an easy target for people like my sister. Thanksgiving was at my parents' house. It always is. I had offered to host this year since we just finished renovating our little dining room, but Vanessa shot that down immediately in our family group chat. She said, "We need space, Georgina. Not everyone is okay squeezing around a garage sale table in a shoebox kitchen." The rest of the family chuckled. My mom sent a laughing emoji. Typical. James told me to ignore them, that they'd never understand the value of a home built with love instead of luxury. But still, it stung. When we arrived, everything already fell off. Vanessa barely acknowledged Lily and didn't say a word to James. She kissed our parents on the cheek and twirled into the kitchen like she was on a talk show. Her voice carried through the house, commanding attention and fake laughs. And I felt it, that old sensation of being 13 again, invisible and less than. But we did what we always do, smiled, helped set the table, tried to blend in. Lily was wearing this little velvet dress I bought her, burgundy with lace at the cuffs. She'd even curled her hair. It was adorable and she felt pretty. James told her she looked like a princess and she beamed. Dinner went well enough. Turkey, mashed potatoes, awkward small talk, side eyes from Vanessa every time James told a story. She made a few comments, subtle, sharp, like, "So Georgina still driving that beat-up SUV? Or have you finally upgraded from February 2009? Or Lily, your dress is vintage." How sweet. I clenched my jaw. James reached under the table and squeezed my hand. We were used to it. After dessert, the kids went outside to play in the backyard, which was still muddy from last night's rain. Lily followed her cousins, trying to be included. That's when it happened. I wasn't there to see the moment it started. I wish I had been. But what I did see was Lily standing by the edge of the yard, smiling nervously, holding a soccer ball. Vanessa stormed over heels, sinking into the damp grass, yelling something about the kids kicking too close to Rowdy. Lily looked frightened, murmuring an apology. Then Vanessa stepped forward, shoved my daughter straight into a puddle. Lily fell hard, hands and knees splashing into the muddy water. Her velvet dress soaked. Her face twisted in humiliation. And then came the line. Vanessa sneered loud enough for everyone to hear, "Now you're just like your mother, dirty and pathetic. A pig rolling in filth." The backyard went silent for a second. Then laughter. Real cruel laughter. My uncle, my cousins, even my mother chuckled behind a wine glass. No one helped Lily. No one scolded Vanessa. James stood up so fast his chair toppled backward. His fists were clenched, jaw tight, and for a moment I thought he might charge across the yard, but he didn't. Instead, he walked past me calmly, almost too calmly, and stepped into the house. Vanessa was still laughing, walking back to the patio, sipping from her wine like nothing had happened. Lily stood there, shivering, her lip trembling, mud down her legs, tears on her cheeks. I rushed over to her, wrapped my arms around her, whispered that she was okay, that none of what Vanessa said mattered, but my heart was breaking. Then the screen door slammed. James walked out. He wasn't holding anything. He didn't yell. He didn't threaten. He just walked right up to Vanessa and said in a quiet, cold voice, "You've humiliated my daughter for the last time. Enjoy your car. It'll be your last memory of pride." Vanessa laughed. "What? You're going to key it? Real classy." James didn't respond. He turned on his heel and walked out the front gate. I didn't know what he was doing. For a second I thought he just needed air. But 5 minutes later the alarm on Vanessa's Audi started blaring. People rushed to the front of the house shouting and gasping. James had backed our old SUV right down the driveway and rammed it into Vanessa's car. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Slow. Deliberate. No one could stop him. He destroyed the front end, shattered her bumper, caved in the hood, and even cracked a headlight. The family was screaming. My mom was yelling. Vanessa shrieked like a banshee, threatening lawsuits, screaming about calling the cops. James finally stepped out of the SUV, walked over to Vanessa, and in front of everyone said, "Call them and tell them what you did to my daughter, the bruises on her knees, the tears you laughed at, the puddle you shoved her into. Let them record your insults, your cruelty. I'd love to see how that plays in court." Then he tossed the keys on the lawn, grabbed Lily, who was sobbing, in my arms and said, "We're done here. You people are poison." We left. Just like that. Drove home in silence. Lily curled up in the back seat, still shaking. James reached for my hand again and didn't let go for the rest of the night. But that wasn't the end. The next day Vanessa posted some fake version of the story on Facebook, blaming James for a violent outburst, playing the victim. The comments were filled with sympathy. I was furious. So I posted the truth with photos of Lily's muddy dress, her scraped knees, Vanessa standing with her wine glass smirking as Lily cried, in the video because one of the cousins had recorded it all, probably hoping to post it later for laughs. But the video made its way to me. James uploaded it, captioned it, "This is what happens when cruelty meets consequence." It went viral in a matter of hours. Thousands of people saw what Vanessa did. Her workplace found out. Clients pulled contracts. Sponsors cut ties. Her perfect image shattered. But the part that hit the hardest. Our daughter Lily saw the comments. Strangers from around the world telling her she was beautiful, strong, and that she did nothing wrong. For the first time she smiled about what happened. And as for James, his act of vengeance wasn't just about rage. It was about love, protecting our daughter when no one else would. And it wasn't over yet, because what happened next turned the rest of the family completely upside down. After James smashed Vanessa's Audi and the video went viral, the fallout was immediate but not nearly as satisfying as what came next. It's one thing to expose a bully. It's another to reveal the rotten core of an entire family who stood and laughed while a child was humiliated. Within 48 hours of James posting the video, everything changed. Vanessa's law firm issued a public statement distancing themselves from her behavior. Clients dropped her left and right. She tried to downplay it at first, claiming it was a family joke taken out of context, but the footage didn't lie. It was raw. It showed her clearly shoving Lily into the puddle, sneering, sipping wine, and enjoying the cruelty. No one could mistake what it was, bullying, public and personal. My mother tried calling me, left voicemails crying about how I'd torn the family apart by airing private matters. But not once did she say sorry. Not once did she ask if Lily was okay. That silence told me everything. James, meanwhile, stayed quiet publicly after the post. He didn't gloat. He didn't need to. People rallied around him. Local news wanted to run the story. Child therapists, advocates, even teachers praised him online for defending his daughter the way no one else in that backyard had. And Lily? She was still processing everything. The outpouring of love from strangers gave her some sense of strength again, but she also saw clearly who our family really was, the sparkle in her eye when we mentioned grandma or cousins gone. What really set things in motion, though, was the will. You see, my father had passed 3 years earlier, left everything to my mother. She always promised that the house would go to Vanessa and me equally, and that the family lake cabin would go to the grandchildren someday. We never really pushed it. My parents weren't rich and I wasn't interested in their money. But when I got an anonymous envelope in the mail 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, my world tilted. Inside were copies of revised estate documents dated 3 months before Thanksgiving. Everything house cabin assets had already been signed over to Vanessa quietly, with the agreement that she'd take care of Mom in her old age. And in the margins I saw the handwriting, my mother's. A note scribbled beside the paragraph excluding me read, "Georgina made her bed. She married beneath her and chose that life. Vanessa earned this." I stared at it for so long I thought my eyes would burn. It wasn't about the money. It was about the rejection. The disgust that had always simmered beneath my mother's tone. Vanessa smirks the family's snide jokes. James took the envelope, read every page, then looked at me and said, "They think they won. They have no idea what's coming. We could have sued. We could have fought over the estate. But instead James had a different idea, one that hit deeper, harder, and with a finality none of them saw coming. We invited a few of the relatives, just the ones who hadn't laughed, who had privately apologized to Lily's school for an event the following week. She had been selected to read her essay aloud for the district's Voices of the Future night. Her teacher told us it was powerful but didn't reveal the topic. That night in a packed auditorium, Lily stepped on stage in a simple dress. No curls, no makeup, just her voice. She began. They laughed when I fell. They laughed when I cried. But my dad didn't. My dad stood up. He showed me that silence helps the bully win. And because he stood, the world listened. She told the whole story from her eyes. What it felt like to be pushed. Mocked. Betrayed by grown-ups. The confusion. The pain. The realization that adults can be worse than children. She ended it with, I'm not broken. I'm learning. And I know now who truly loves me. Not the ones who smile for cameras, but the ones who fight when it matters. Thank you, Dad. You are my hero. The entire auditorium gave her a standing ovation. 2 days later, Lily was offered a scholarship to a private school known for nurturing gifted writers and empathic leaders. Fully funded, safe, supportive, and we accepted. That was the final blow. When Vanessa heard that Lily had not only gone viral but was receiving offers and accolades for her bravery, she snapped. She tried contacting the school board, claiming we exploited our child for attention, but it didn't work. No one listened to her anymore. She had become what she feared the most, irrelevant. My mother disinvited us from Christmas, sent a mass message saying we caused too much drama. We didn't respond. Instead, James and I used that holiday to take Lily to the lake, not the family cabin, the real one we'd been secretly renting for months, planning to buy. With help from some friends and a little unexpected media attention, we closed on a small, peaceful lake house just outside town. It was ours. No more asking for a seat at a table that had never welcomed us. We lit a fire, made us mores, and told stories in the quiet. For the first time in years, we felt free. Vanessa still posts online. Her perfect life is a little less polished now, a little more desperate. She lost clients. The law firm gave her a sabbatical that quietly turned into a termination. My mother lives with her now, though from what I hear it's not the paradise she imagined. As for us, James is opening his own repair shop next spring. Lily's thriving. And me. I stopped chasing love from people who only knew how to measure worth in status and control. Thanksgiving used to be a time to gather with family. Now for me, it's the day everything changed. It's the day my husband stood up and refused to let silence win. It's the day my daughter learned that her tears mattered. It's the day I stopped being ashamed of where I came from and started building where we were going. They called me dirty. Now they're the ones buried in the filth of their own cruelty. And we rose above it all.